Powered by Go-Goat Sports in partnership with TSN, Season 4, Episode 12 of the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, Canadian Club Whiskey. And, a weekly reminder, we do it twice a week, of the final release of their Chronicle series. The 45-year-old Canadian Club Whiskey is arriving everywhere very shortly, and we're very much looking forward to tasting that. And we're very much looking forward to former New Jersey Devil defenseman, played almost 1,300 NHL games, all with the Devils. He's now a Devils broadcaster. Ken Danico, great storyteller. You've got history with him, Ray. Can't wait to check in with Dano, as he's called. I think our viewers, our listeners here on the Ray and Dregs podcast are going to get a kick out of Ken Danico because he's incomparable. The level of energy that this 60-year-old man still possesses is off the charts. So we'll check in with Kenny coming up shortly. Headlines, again, this season are brought to you by Boston Pizza. And I guess we start with the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? All eyes around the league watching the Leafs and the Flyers on Wednesday night. The captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, John Tavares, leads Toronto to the much-needed win over Philly with the hat trick. One game doesn't solve all of the concerns, the woes of the Maple Leafs, but I'm sure throughout varying points of your career, Ray, where you went through trouble spots, that one game does matter. It's refreshing. It's cleansing. It might be exactly what the Leafs need going into a tough weekend.
It is, because you can breathe a little bit. Yeah. You can just it's amazing. It is 100% not the cure-all. It just isn't. You played a Flyers team that's really not very good, who had played the night before. You can't say, it was a perfect win by any way, shape, or form, but it's a win. Yeah. And it just makes everybody feel just a little bit better about going to the rink today. There's a heaviness that you both mentally and physically feel when you're struggling. And so that's why to win is critical. Now they play Saturday against the Bruins. I've got the Bruins here tonight. I'm in New York City. So they've lost Derek Forbort. He's on IR. David Krejci's going to be a maybe for it. They still don't have Charlie McAvoy. Oh yeah, the Bruins are 9-1. They've got a goal differential of 18. They play Dregs. The people that go watch the game on Saturday or watch on TV, they're going to see, unless the Bruins lay an egg, they're going to see a Bruins team that plays completely differently than they have. They are fast, and they skate, and they are up the ice. Hampus Lindholm is a completely different player. He had a goal and 3 assists the other night. I was really impressed with the way they play. So that'll be a challenge. Then they go overnight to Carolina, and they got a back-to-back there. And that's going to be murderous in Carolina. And then they come back home for Vegas. That's why also that Philly win was critical for them. What happens if you play a great game and lose 4-3 to Boston on Saturday, and then you go into Carolina? Oh, geez. Well, now all of a sudden you got a 5-game losing streak, right? It happens fast. So that was a critical win for them last night.
All right, the Penguins, man, are they on a skid here? They've lost 6 in a row. You know that. You did that game last night. What do you see that seems to be missing? Because right out of the gate, Pittsburgh looked like they were going to be formidable. There's still ample time for them to be exactly that. But what are you seeing? What's not going well for the Pens?
Well, I'll tell you what is going well for them is nothing.
Yeah.
There is nothing that looks easy or comfortable or energetic. They look a little bit disconnected from the level of the game. We look at Crosby, Letang, Malkin, right, as the drivers of that team with Gensel, and we're talking 3 Hall of Famers for sure, right? They're none of them have played to that level. Letang went on that last road trip. They played 5 games. He was -8. Didn't have a point.
Yeah.
Like, so everything, like from the top end to assimilating in some of their younger, newer players, their penalty killing's been a disaster, like under 70%. It's the worst in the league. And in goal, they've been just kind of okay, not great. So it's like it's not one thing, it's a lot of things. I'm surprised, quite frankly, because it's a really veteran team, and you would think they wouldn't fall apart. But now that's 6 straight for them. And if you look at Pittsburgh and you look at another veteran team in St. Louis, they're no better. Like these are good teams that have just gotten their asses kicked here early in the year.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned St. Louis. So Doug Armstrong, the general manager, meets with the players and then comes out, meets with the media early in the season to confirm Craig Berube is not going anywhere. He is the head coach for the St. Louis Blues, and that's not changing unless this thing just goes completely off the rails. And then you've got the captain of the Blues, Ryan O'Reilly, who, talking about his own game, describes his own game as pathetic, as horrible, says that he feels like he's playing for his life in the NHL. I mean, I applaud his honesty and his transparency, but those are strong words, but fitting, aren't they? Fitting, not just for Ryan O'Reilly, but the general play of the St. Louis Blues right now.
Well, it's not just that they're losing, Dregs. They're losing in very un-St. Louis Blue way. They're giving up all kinds of goals, which just doesn't normally happen. The front of their net is a picnic area. That's never been the case with St. Louis. I don't know if you saw the game the other night. There was like LA scored, I think, 3 that went from one side of the ice right through the middle of the ice to a backdoor tap-in. You're like, that never happens against the Blues. And for O'Reilly, like his, we've seen him around the rink and we hear lots of stories. Like his work ethic and commitment to the game is I won't say it's unparalleled, but it's in the top. It's the top of what you could be.
Yeah.
Sometimes the harder you try, the worse it gets. The more you work, the worse it gets. He's got to find, like that team has to find that mid-ground of, are we still playing with energy while we're being really committed?
Right.
I think it's really, you can screw yourself into the ground by trying so hard, and then you waste all your energy on trying to be prepared, and then you don't have any energy to perform.
Right.
You don't play well. And that's as I look at the Blues, like, they signed Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas to those 8-year contracts at the start of the year. And those guys, they're not luxuries anymore. They've got to lead. They've got to score. And you feel that. You feel that you're not scoring. You feel the weight of the contract. And they probably all got to relax a little bit. I like that Doug Armstrong came out and took a few bullets here for everybody.
Me too.
But he also went in the room and said, hey, guys, whatever he said was along the lines of, guys, this is not good enough. When your GM comes into the room, there is a bigger message on there.
All right, let's wrap up headlines with something we teased in Tuesday's episode of the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast. And that was a quick thought on 3 coaches. Now, you mentioned Boston, and some credit goes to Jim Montgomery, of course. You've got Pete DeBoer doing good things on the bench of the Dallas Stars, and we can't overlook Bruce Cassidy and the Vegas Golden Knights. How much credit do all 3 of those men deserve for where their teams sit in the standings and how strong a start they've had this year?
Well, I think they deserve the credit because if coaches or if teams come out of the box and they stumble around, who's on the hot seat is on insider trading. Right away. You guys are, who's on it. And so now I look at, sometimes you have to be the right guy at the right time. So talking to Jim Montgomery the other day, first thing he did was credit Bruce Cassidy's defensive system. He said, we didn't even really have to work on that. They defend really well. We want to play offensively differently. Jim Montgomery views the game from an offensive standpoint different than Bruce Cassidy. And I found that really, quite interesting that here they are, both teams have got tremendous goal differentials, goals for to goals against. Cassidy likes more volume shooting. Montgomery wants more quality shooting. He wants to hold the puck, control it, not as many shots, but better shots. And I'm like, well, it's interesting. Two different ways and two very successful guys with their team. So I think they do deserve credit. Pete DeBoer went into Dallas. They played this tight system for a number of years, and he's trying to open it up a bit. And I can guarantee you the players will like that. And all three of them are off to really nice starts. The Bruins, by the way, they were founded,
1924?
1924. So they are, here they are in 24 to now, and this is their best historical start. 9
it's
in run.
Remarkable. Yeah.
So they're fun to watch, and I'm glad to see that these teams are part of this skill set of players that makes the game go to a different place. I mean, it's just that game in Pittsburgh the other night, it's 5-2. Even a few years ago, that game is over.
In the second period,
Second period, it's over. It's 5-2, and then it's not. And Boston comes back to win.
Crazy.
Oh, one thing will say, by the way.
Yeah.
One quick thing I'm going to throw. Pittsburgh loses multi-goal leads in back-to-back nights. The second night's in Buffalo. Buffalo scored 14 goals in the last two games. They got three guys, Victor Olofsson, Tage Thompson, and Alex Tuch. Olofsson's got 8 goals. Thompson and Tuch have 7. And they're the first time since 1993-94 that the team's had 3 players with 7 goals, 10 games in. So fun to watch. I don't know about the uniforms. What did you think of those, Dregs?
I don't pay close attention to that, but that one, I look at the uniform and I'm like, they got to try something else. I think
they need darker pants. Darker pants in there. Yeah. But anyways, that's my fashion model. There you go. That's all I got.
I like it. Headlines, once again, presented by our good pals at Boston Pizza. Hey, our interviews on Ray and Dregs this year are brought to you by Canadian Club Whiskey, who are asking, are you over beer? Why not try the refreshing CC Ginger Ale? Toss in a lime if you're interested in the drink, maybe watching the game. And if you haven't already done so, and you should have this summer, but it's not just a summer drink. You've got to check out the CC and Ginger Ale mixed and ready in a can. Why? Because it's delicious. And it takes all of the challenges with making a refreshing CC and ginger ale on your own. Hey, thanks for tuning into our YouTube channel. And while you're here, why don't you do us a solid? Hit like and subscribe.
Yeah, you'll get access to all the latest uploads. You can stay updated on the latest news and interviews from the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast.
It only takes a couple of seconds, and from what I'm told, it helps with our algorithm thingamajig. Anyway, we appreciate the support.